Hello everyone, Alina Mek here, your trusted real estate advisor, and we are talking about home inspections today. Thorough home inspection is crucial before buying a house to uncover all potential risks that could be costly to address. That's why I invited James Jordan with HomeSentry Inspections to talk about red flags in home inspection. He did an amazing job inspecting one of my listings. Hello, James.
Hi, Alina. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. Can you please tell us about 5 major red flags of home inspections?
Yeah, so 5 of the major things that you'll find and you want your client to be aware of would be foundation, roof, electrical, plumbing, and then the overall structure itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can we talk now about them in details?
So during our inspections, we run into slab foundations, post-tension slab, crawl space. The one that you really have the most access to truly see the entire foundation generally is the crawl space type foundation. You find oftentimes in the Bay Area, you'll find fine line vertical cracks and, sometimes small horizontal cracks, which are relatively pretty easy to address those issues. But occasionally you'll find major cracking in numerous locations, and that can be quite costly to repair, up into $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for the repair.
And you guys also give recommendations to your clients, right?
We recommend who to contact, and if they need more help to maybe facilitate the conversation with the contractor or anything like that, we help out with that.
Nice, because I know you have a contractor background, right?
Right. And then the second red flag I'd like to talk about would be the roof itself. Oftentimes it's difficult for the seller to know what to disclose about their roof. Sometimes they've had the roof for an extended period of time, but they don't notice any leaks. And that's when a lot of times sellers are getting inspections because, they want to be forthright about what they're disclosing. And then from the buyer side, they want to know, how long can I live here without having to spend the money on an entire new roof? Which on a larger home, let's say a 2,500 square foot home that currently has solar on it and probably has a few little woodwork type issues, rafter tails, fascia board, that kind of stuff. A new roof with the labor, materials, and everything could run up to $30,000, $40,000
Oh, wow.
to get a new roof.
And what's the average life of the roof in average?
Yeah, so like a common roof material in the Bay Area would be, let's say, architectural composite shingles. They have around a 30-year lifespan.
30 years, okay.
They have some newer ones today when installed up to 40 years.
What is another red flag?
Another red flag would be the plumbing. Oftentimes the homes are a bit older and they might have a galvanized supply line from the meter to the home, and then the actual plumbing supply lines are galvanized themselves. And over the years they corrode inside. The opening inside the pipes becomes very small. They have low water flow, low water pressure, and that can be quite costly, especially depending on the type of foundation. A crawl space type foundation would be the most affordable. And if you have a slab foundation and the plumbing is in the floor, obviously it's a bigger issue. You have to get a repipe specialist. They'll find a way to run the new pipes in your ceilings and walls and to get you a new supply lines, yeah.
And what is another red flag? We're talking about electrical?
Electrical. Yeah. Oftentimes while inspecting, I find Federal Pacific panels or Zinsco panels, and a lot of times that would be the main service panel, which is sometimes like embedded in the stucco, and then a sub panel located maybe in the garage. And basically those panels, we recommend that they get replaced. Even though they might not necessarily be having issues at the time, they do cause a high rate of fires in the United States each year. So we do make the recommendation to replace those panels when possible, and that could get up to, $20,000 sometimes to replace both of those panels. And another electrical issue would be really older homes with knob and tube wiring, no grounding at the outlets in the home, no protection at the kitchen countertops or bathrooms. Yeah, and it gets quite costly. You have to basically cut out a lot of drywall to fully replace knob and tube wiring. Yeah, so we try to definitely make sure that the buyers are aware of what type of electrical system they have.
James, if there is a person who doesn't plan to sell a house, but they just want to prevent the fires that you were talking about, how often do they need to get inspector to check their electrical?
Yeah, if they own an older home, especially if they do have a Federal Pacific or Zensco panel, I would recommend that they get inspected, maybe every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Just
okay.
to have the breakers and components checked that they're not overheating.
Okay, thank you. Good to know. What is another red flag you can name?
Yeah, so the overall structure itself, if the home is continuously having, let's say, a lot of minor cracking at the exterior of the stucco, or if trim is continuously popping loose from each other and fasteners loosening, or a lot of cracks at, let's say, on the interior drywall at the corners of windows and doors, and they continuously keep coming back. I mean, that's an overall structure issue, and sometimes it's caused by high wind, minor earthquakes, and it's an indication that maybe the construction wasn't quite up to par when the home was built.
Outside of home inspection, James, do you provide termite inspection as well?
HomeSentry Inspections is a home inspection-based company. I do have sister companies that I work with and people that I recommend, and I try to facilitate those inspections by helping the realtor or the client schedule those at the same time as the home inspection. I don't mark up their pricing or anything like that. I just try to help out with the scheduling. Oftentimes there's a contingency period or something, a deadline that has to be met, and I try to accommodate them by helping them meet that deadline.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. James, let's talk about cost of home inspection in Bay Area, and can you break it down for us?
I differ a little bit than some other home inspection companies in the Bay Area. I'm based out of Pacifica, so I consider travel time to the site, the age of the home, does it have a crawl space or not? That's generally how I base my pricing. And I also consider the fact if someone's a repeat customer and they're, I'm loyal to them and they're loyal to me and we work together, I try to give them the best pricing I can. And there's been numerous times, not often because it's only happened a few times actually. I'll provide a free inspection for, let's say, an elderly person who lives by themselves and are getting moved to a care facility or something. I'll provide a free inspection. And for first responders, whether it be firefighter, police officer, nurse, it's 50% off of home inspection services.
If you provide home inspection service, James, does it have any expiration date?
No, so you'll always have access, as long as I'm alive and own this company, you'll have access to the reports. I would recommend to download the PDF and print one copy of it. But you could always contact HomeSentry and we could provide you with the report. And for 1 year after the inspection, any potential buyer or seller or anyone who needs any information about the home, feel free to call and we can discuss.
And the last question I wanted to ask you today, James, is there any differences in home inspection for buyers and sellers, or it's basically the same?
So basically it's the same. I've heard it said, I've been asked the question, are you a buyer's inspector or are you a seller's inspector? And there are some differences. To be honest, I'm a little more rigorous for a buyer. I'm representing the buyer and I will go out of my way to find pretty much anything that there is to find because I want you to be aware of what you're buying. As with the seller, I want them to disclose whatever they really need to disclose, but I'm a little more lenient with cosmetic issues and I don't want to be an alarmist. And basically I understand the process that someone's trying to sell their home. And I don't try to make it difficult for them, but at the same time, I have a standard that if something's wrong, I don't want even the buyer that I'm not representing, I don't want them to get it this way. So I will let the sellers and the seller's agent know what's going on there. So it's basically more of a political difference than an actual inspection difference.
Got it.
The way you handle the inspection.
Thank you, James. I hope it was very useful. If you have additional questions, please head them our way. And thank you, James, for your time. It was very, very useful information today for us.
Thank you for having me, Alina.
Thank you. If you have any more questions to James Jordan and to me as your realtor, you're more than welcome to leave comments, to contact me or James. And thanks for watching.